I, 23F, should have never tagged along on this trip with my boyfriend, 26M, his brother, 22M, and my brother, 19M. What do I do now? I have been dating my boyfriend for the past year and a half. His brother, my brother and him went on a Europe trip for a month and I decided to tag along in one of the countries they were in for 5 days. Keep in mind, I have never been out of the country with him or on vacation with him. For some reason, I had a gut feeling this trip wasn't going to be the best. Some of the things he did, raising his voice, talking down on me and my brother, have been happening for quite a while now. I just decided to shrug it off in the past. BC, when I did raise a concern about it, he would get mad. It's like when I was on this trip, I had a switch in my brain. I did not want to be near him, talk to him, or for him to touch me. I had the ick, so to speak. Here are a few of the things that happened. Fell down bad. Possibly sprained my ankle, it still hurts. I got myself up and he was laughing the entire time and said this is her when she's sober, imagine when she's drunk. I didn't want to ruin my night out, so I didn't say anything. I wanted to take pictures. He yelled at me and said, you want a ducking, take pictures everywhere, just walk. My best friend called me in tears. I was helping her out with something. Again starts going off on me because how am I going to help my best friend if I'm not in the country? I replied saying I'm just going to text her. And he throws a fit and puts his plate down loudly on the table and goes, I'm tired of your ducking attitude. I started laughing. BC, not once did I give attitude. I was out of it at this point. On the last day of the trip, we were all eating and a topic came up. I was talking about it and he goes like, you can stop talking now, and I replied I was just saying XYZ, and again he says, I ducking hate your attitude you've had the past week, and I say mine or yours. And his brother replies saying yours. I was in shock. I turned around and told him that he has no place to say anything, and his brother replied saying, well, I'm just saying what I've observed. I got up and called my dad in tears. My brother was shocked and couldn't get words out of his mouth. He too was incredibly annoyed by them. I don't know what to do. I'm back home and he's still in Europe for another 10 days. It's to the point where I feel so hurt. Everyone knows that he's a good person, and I know that too. I don't even think he knows when he hurts me. 2 months ago I was ready to spend the rest of my life with him, but now I don't know anymore. I'm so ducking sad. I don't even want to talk to him about anything because I already know he's going to tell me pull out the receipts, or he's going to be so dismissive about it. And if I do break up with him, his family and my family are going to go crazy. My mom loves him. His family wants us to be married ASAP. My dad told me, you never truly know a person until you travel with them. Dave. Oh God, I did not think this would blow up. Hi everyone. I truly appreciate all of your comments and concerns. Now for some clarifications. I did not invite myself. I was invited, but not by my boyfriend, by my brother. He called me one day and told me, you know, I think you deserve a vacation after your first year of law school, blah blah blah, come for a couple days. I asked my boyfriend if that's okay with him and his brother, and he said yes. Now that I think about it, he gave a dry response and I'm not sure if he wanted me to come. I also forgot one thing. He made a joke when we were there that his brother did not want me to come. My memory is so hazy from this trip. When I said in the original post that I know he's a good person, I have been sitting here in my bed literally weighing the good and the bad. The good person's comment comes from things he has done for my family and I in the past. He has done good things, not necessarily good to me mentally though. I had done everything for this trip to be great for both me and my boyfriend. My mom sat me down before the trip and told me if something bothers me on the trip, I should swallow it and let it be until I come back. On everything that I love, I put on a smile the entire trip. Not once did I say anything bad towards him or acted like I did not want to be there. There were times I was tired, yeah, but what trip doesn't make you tired? I was grateful to be there. Second update. Hi again everyone. I have been scrolling through all your comments the past 24 hours. It is so nice to have some people not think I'm crazy. It is day 3 of being back home, and no, I do not live with him. I talked to my dad today for a long time. I'm more close with my dad than my mom, if you guys haven't noticed that yet. I told him I'm scared to talk to him, and his face completely dropped, and he told me his daughter cannot be scared of anyone. He said, I think we should talk to your mom about everything, so that's what we'll be doing tomorrow night. And he said he has my back no matter what. However, he said he does think that my boyfriend loves me and that I love him, and this is just one of those moments where it's a bump in the road and that he is way too comfortable because he thinks I'll never leave him. I told him it's for sure not just a bump in the road, and he suggested taking a break from him when he comes back to fully think about my life without him. As for my boyfriend, we have just been texting very coldly. He's posting stories and not texting me, so I think he's realized something's up. For context, his parents or something. And now I'm slowly tying everything together in my mind on how his dad treats his mom and how he treats me. One example that rings in my head is when we were at a wedding a couple months ago at the same table. Both parents were visibly drunk, and I had come up to the table to sit, but there was no room, so the mom had moved down so I could sit next to her. I will never forget the look on his dad's face. It looked like pure hatred when he angrily told her to sit back down. I was so visibly uncomfortable the entire time that a random stranger who was on the same table came up to me and hugged me and told me to hang in there. It's only going to get worse. There have been other moments too. I walked in on her crying in the kitchen, clearly because of something her husband said, and her saying it's just allergies. Well, it was not just allergies. I do not want to be in a marriage like that. But how have I been so blind?
Story 2. I went camping without my brother, and he went camping without me. But he hated it. I guess maybe my brother only liked camping if it meant screwing with me in some way. 2 weeks after I pranked my brother with laxative-spiked beer in a growler, I went camping again. This time in a completely different place deeper in the hills and forest. I went alone this time too. I know a lot of y'all are probably thinking, yes, it seems like I go camping too much. Well, that's because my brother ruined several trips till I got back at him. And I wanted one final trip to make up for it this year. And admittedly, having a camper trailer makes a nice home away from home. I don't know if you've ever had such a pleasant morning where you wake up to just the nicest fresh air and feeling good and rested for a change. But that's how it was for me on this trip. I was worried that my brother might try to follow me again. But he didn't. He didn't even try to go camping at all while I was out there. And he knew in advance where I was going to, as we've both been there before. I went up to a reserved camping area that had a lot of open spots because since summer ended, people aren't camping as much. I parked my trailer in a good spot, met a few nice people, had some beers while sitting outside and watching movies on the portable DVD player, caught up on some light reading, enjoyed roasting marshmallows with some other people and making s'mores. It was a really simple and enjoyable time. I actually attracted some attention with the portable DVD player because no one there had seen someone use one in a while. I mean, they're so handy. Why are people not still using them? You should be able to go to the electronics store right now and get ones that can play Blu-rays. But I ended up drawing in a young married couple who were camping next to me by watching a DVD of Ford vs. Ferrari. Such a good movie. And it opened the door for me to hang out with a few other people there. A lot of us gathered around a fire pit. I had stuff for s'mores and so did they. So it was just a grand old time of a s'more party. Though we did comedically bicker a bit over which chocolate is best for the s'mores. Hershey's all the way. It all went just how I like camping to be. No one to wake me up by knocking on my door. No one asking for beer handouts. No one trying to screw with me. Friendly neighbors who don't make a ton of noise. Making new friends. I haven't had that good of a camping experience since before COVID. And back then I didn't have my camper either. So this experience was extra good for me. I ended up singing the praises of how good the camping trip was online after I got home. And my brother seemed rather perturbed by it because he had another passive-aggressive comment, which he later removed because our parents saw it too and harped on him for trying to gaslight me again. If I recall, the comment was something like, "Must be nice to enjoy camping alone and having everything you want." It was pretty obvious he was trying to bait me. But it didn't work well. So what does my brother do? He decides he's gonna go camping the same way I did. In the exact same place too, and on the following weekend. Suffice to say, it did not go well for him. Firstly, he went online and found a used portable DVD player like I did for cheap. But he whined that he paid more for it than I did mine. And I don't think he was a fan of the screen size. But it was all he could find on short notice. Then while camping he complained online about the people there not being so friendly to him. Ergo he possibly annoyed them until they told him to go away. If you're meeting my brother for the first time in such a place, he can come off as either a whiny asshole, a mooching hothead, or a general douche. And he talks people's ears off about things he makes up and exaggerates. If you try to walk away, he'll follow you. He complained they laughed at his miniram, and he also said he felt like he was being judged by them for having cheap beer. That kind of sounds like paranoia to me. He also complained that it wasn't very fun to watch DVDs on a player that only had a 9-inch screen. Even though he has a TV and gaming setup in his camper since he lives in it now, he didn't have a way to power it up without a generator or power outlet. Anyway, if all that wasn't bad enough, he complained of just being very bored in general. There was no one there he could get away with pestering, and I doubt anyone enjoyed his bragging about the mini-ram, and he probably had little else to do other than sitting around on his phone. He live-streamed a video of himself going hiking. And shortly after the video started recording, he tripped over a stick because he was paying too much attention to his phone and landed on his face. He was trying to show off and act like he was some sort of professional while doing a fake British accent. The fall gave him a black eye and a swollen left side of his face. He deleted the video off his SM before most people saw it. But some, including myself, still caught it. Then his last day was spent mostly indoors of his camper because it was raining heavily. That's why I wanted to get my camping urges over and done with before the fall rains really kicked off. Fall and winter is mostly just swampy rain here. And we get a lot of it, so flooding in some areas happens a lot. Pennywise would drown. My brother basically spent that last day watching DVDs on his portable player, playing on his phone and laptop, and not doing much else. He pretty much posted online about every little thing he was doing because of how bored he was. Then said he was just going to go home and play video games. But when he tried to leave, the mini-ram wouldn't move. It started but wouldn't shift into drive. He panicked and called me. Over the phone we talked and came to the conclusion that most of the fluid had leaked out of his transmission after I had him check it. So I drove down in heavy rain to meet him over there at dusk with some new fluid and a bottle of Lucas transmission fix to help the seals and the shifting. That got the mini-ram going again. And my brother begrudgingly reimbursed me for the gas I used to get there and for the fluids. He also later admitted the mini-ram is shifting better. He somehow went this whole time without bothering to check the transmission fluid. I'd like to say the look of defeat he had was priceless. But this time I couldn't even laugh at his misery. His ego already took a bad enough hit that he had to call me for help. I reminded him that his mini-ram was a vehicle on borrowed time, and it likely wasn't helping the transmission with all the extra weight he was towing around with his camper. For once he didn't disagree with me. Normally he's pretty jerkish around me in general. But on this day we didn't fight or even disagree on anything. He's already invested enough in stupid redneck mods on that van/truck without much return other than feeding his own ego. My brother's ex-girlfriend told me she pissed away enough money on that van long before she gave it to him, and he cut it up into the mini-ram. Once the engine or transmission goes, maybe someone else would be interested in buying what's left of it. I ended up towing his camper home for him so he could go easy on the mini-ram's transmission. And just to make him feel a little better, I brought along my old set of walkie-talkies. And we had some fun talking back and forth with them. We both took a crack at trying to speak trucker, but admittedly we're both terrible at it. Which is ironic because both of our parents know CB lingo inside and out from the 70s and 80s. I got my brother's camper back to his home, and we were having an awkward goodbye when his douchey housemates started making stupid jokes at us. And of course my brother had to be himself and join in on it with them. Till I whispered about how they might want to know how he fell on his face. And then he told them to shut up. That was pretty much the end of that. Well, this is the end of these two stories. So what you guys think about the stories? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you guys enjoyed these stories, do like and subscribe to our channel. It's free for you guys, but it helps us a lot and keeps us motivated. You guys can also support us by checking out the links in the video description and the channels about section of our channel. Here are some videos you can watch in the meantime. Till then, goodbye.